All right, so got my thought kit on. You feel me? Got my baby mama suit on, right? But that's not gonna stop what's going on though. So you could be like that and let it distract you. That's not stopping nothing. You know? All right. So this is Wall Wars, episode 5. Suicide Strikes Back. So and that ain't nothing funny right there. I just had to clear my throat for real. So we're gonna talk about suicidal ideations. This is something that the author of Giants Do Fall, the Southside Cult. that's what they talking about in there. They talking about suicide and dealing with, self-esteem issues and shit like that. Uh-oh. But see, I'm qualified to discuss, those kinds of topics. I was a mental health counselor for some time. I had to pass all type of tests, and, so I'm the right person to do this. And I'm going to do it. So, a suicidal ideation, often called suicidal thoughts or ideas, are a broad term used to describe a range of contemplations, wishes, and preoccupations with death and suicide. There is no universally accepted consistent definition of SI, which leads to ongoing challenges for clinicians, researchers, and educators. It is evident that suicidal ideations present in a waxing and waning manner. So the magnitude and characteristics of SI fluctuate dramatically. Okay. I ain't gonna go that far on that other thing, man. I want to go to overactive imagination, so fantasy prone personality. Now, this is the opinion that was given to me by someone that read this book. They said, let's see, fantasy prone personality, FPP, is a disposition or personality trait in which a person experiences a lifelong, extensive, and deep involvement in fantasy. This disposition is an attempt, at least in part, to better describe overactive imagination or living in a dream world. An individual with this trait, termed a fantasizer, may have difficulty differentiating between fantasy and reality and may experience hallucinations as well as self-suggested psychosomatic symptoms. Closely related psychological constructs include daydreaming, absorption, and eidetic memory. Okay. Absorption is a disposition of or personality trait in which a person becomes absorbed in their mental imagery, particularly fantasy. This trait thus correlates highly with a fantasy-prone personality. This is fascinating, man. Altered states of consciousness. A high number of female fantasizers, 60% of the women asked in the Wilson Barber study reported that they have had a false pregnancy, pseudocyesis, at least once. They believed that they were pregnant and they had many of the symptoms, in addition to amenorrhea, the stoppage of menstruation. They typically experienced at least four of the following: breast changes, abdominal enlargement, morning sickness, cravings, and fetal movements. Two of the subjects went for abortions, following which they were told that no fetus had been found. All of the other false pregnancies terminated quickly when negative results were received from pregnancy tests. Maladaptive daydreaming is a proposed psychological disorder or fantasy activity that replaces human interaction and interferes with work, relationships, and general activities. Those with this pathology daydream or fantasize excessively, assuming roles and characters in scenarios created to their liking. People with excessive daydreaming are aware that the scenarios and characters of their fantasies are not real and have the ability to determine what is real. Elements that differentiate them from those with schizophrenia. Okay. We'll talk about this too. Uh oh. All right. Bless me. Thank me. Let's see. Uh oh. Loneliness is bad for your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness shrinks your brain. All right. Let's see. We'll talk about a book that my buddy Alonzo Miles wrote. And it was called Love or Fear? What's Your Motivation? And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, the author of the book that called, Carol Bryant, The Witch on the Wall, was someone that was in the nursing ministry as a student, at the church, and someone that would lay hands on her and pray over her. So I'm thinking now, if you felt that way, were you praying or were you like, what was that? Was that in good faith? So the book talked about how different people live different lives, and you lead different lives when you live your life based on love or on fear. And, we're going to get the word for how, fear is sin. So let's see. Matthew 14:25-31. Okay, we see that doubt causes fear, but we also, wait a minute. Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them walking on the sea, and when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a ghost," and they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I. Do not be afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." So he said, "Come." And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt? O ye of little faith." Right, okay. All right, Hebrews 3:12. Beware, brethren, lest there be in any of you an evil heart of unbelief in departing from the living God. Okay? And the living God is the living God of Israel, of Israel. You know, not this, you know, not worshiping Beyonce and, the idolatry and all that. What does that get us? Go to Luke 12:4-5. And I say to you, my friends, do not be afraid of those who kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. But I will show you whom you should fear. Fear him who, after he has killed, has power to cast into hell. Yes, I say to you, fear him. And no one can do that but God, right? So, we'll go to love now. And we'll reference something from earlier. This is why we write it all down. Because love is what somebody would describe as an emotion that comes from the heart, right? So let's see. That's right. I got it for you. Yep, because it's considered the seat of life or strength. Right. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. This is Matthew 6:21. We go to Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Okay. Proverbs 4:23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Romans 12:2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. His good, pleasing, and perfect will. Proverbs 23:26. My son, give me your heart and let your eyes delight in my ways. Psalms 51:10. Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. And I know what steadfast is, but we're going to go to that and then we're going to conclude this. Because steadfast, resolutely or dutifully, firm and unwavering. So consistent, right? But resolutely, let's get that. Resolute, faithful, loyal, constant, staunch, steadfast. So you got to do what you're supposed to do.